Good morning, students. Students are audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very good morning to everyone. And today I'm going to introduce climatic factors. Yesterday we started ecology chapter in which we discussed what is ecology and what is the definition of ecology and what are the branches of ecology that we have discussed, right? And let us continue ecological factors. In that, there are different types of them. They are climatic factors, edaphic factors, topographic factors, and biotic factors. Among which yesterday we have taken that is the climatic factors, right? And just an introduction was given about ecological factors, right? So let us continue. Climatic factors, and what is climatic factors and what are the factors are included in that, and what are the effects of climatic factors and what is the nature of climatic factors, right? So that is the topic that we are going to see. Actually, climatic factors, it is one of the factors that involve in determination of all the characteristic features of an organism, right, including plants and animals. So, climatic factors which plays a prominent role in all the living system, including plants and animals, human being, right? Okay, talking about the role of climatic factors in plants, simply it determines rate of growth in plants. It also determines rate of respiration. It also responsible for controlling all the metabolic activities of the cell, right? So that's called the climatic factors. Generally, what are climatic factors? How many factors are there? There are several factors. The first one is light factors. Sunlight. Light is one of the important factors to be discussed. And second factor is temperature. And third one is water. Then fourth one is wind. Then finally, fire. So there are several factors which are involved in plant system. They are light, temperature, water, wind, or it is also known as air and fire. So these are all the climatic factors. Okay, light, talking about light is one of the important factor that determines photosynthesis and rate of respiration, all the metabolic activities of the cell, right? Yesterday we discussed about only one factor, that is climatic factors. So what is climatic factors and what are the types of climatic factors? And yesterday we started only light factors. So talking about light, based on the observation of light, plants are divided into two types. They are, I'm talking about light. So based on the observation of light, plants are classified into two types. They are heliopoints and shearpoints. The first category is heliopoints. And the second type is shearpoints. Shearpoints. Heliophyte means light-loving plants. That means the plants which require more amount of light in order to grow and in order to activate all the biological activities in a plant. So that is called heliopoints. Simply, in the presence of light, some plants are grown, or the plants are able to grow only in the presence of light. They are called heliopoints. Simply, I can say light-loving plant. Light is essential for the growth and development. Such plants are categorized under heliopoint. Simply, I can say light-loving plant. Whereas shearpoint means just opposite. That's all. Dark-loving plant. Simply, I can say light is not needed, but instead dark or shade. It is also known as shade. Shade-loving plant. Dear student, please understand. Based on the requirement of light, the plants are classified into two types. What are they? Heliopoints and the shearpoints. So, what is the heliopoints? The plant which likes more amount of light for plant growth and development. That is called the heliopoints. Whereas shearpoint means the plant does not require even a small quantity of light. That is called the shearpoints, or the plant which likes only shady places to grow. Right? That is called the shearpoints. Dear student, did you understand what I taught you? Student, first of all, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Could you make a difference between heliopoints and shearpoints? What is heliopoints? I repeat
Light.
once again. Based on the light absorption, plants are classified into two. They are heliopoints and the shearpoint. Heliopoint means a plant which requires or likes more amount of light to grow, to survive in this environment. That is called heliopoints. Whereas shearpoint means the plant does not require even a small quantity of light. That is called shearpoint. On the other way, I can say the plant which requires dark places or shady places to grow. That is called shearpoints. Now, did you understand? Dear students,
Yes, sir.
could you talk about heliopoints in few words?
Plant which require light for growth.
Very good, very good. Good. Okay, keep it up. And what do you understand about shearpoints?
Plants that does not require light, but it requires dark condition.
Very good, ma. The plant which likes only shady places. Simply understand, heliopoints and shearpoints, there is a little different, right? The plant which likes light to grow, whereas shearpoint means a plant which never likes light, but instead it likes only shady places to grow, right? So that is a typical difference between heliopoints and shearpoints. Sometimes you may expect what is called the heliopoints. That is a question in your examination, right? If it is asked, you got right. Light-loving plant or simply a plant which requires light is called heliopoints. Whereas a shearpoint means a plant which does not require any quantity of light. It is called a shearpoint, or it is also known as simply shady-loving plant, right? Now I am going to give an example for each category. For heliopoint means simply, as I said, a plant requires intensity of light for plant growth and development, right? For that, just I would like to give an example. All the angiosperm, So these angiospermic members are grown in the presence of large amount of light. It is known as a light-loving plant. Simply, what are angiosperm? All the dicotyledon and the monocotyledon. Simply, the plants are grown on roadside, right? All the members of angiosperms are distributed just around us. Wherever we go, we can see only these members because these plants are higher forms or higher plants. So these plants are require more amount of light to grow, right? They are called simply heliopoints. So angiosperm are the most suitable example for heliopoints, whereas the shearpoints, some members I would like to mention, please understand. The one is bryophytes. In 11th standard that you have studied about, right? What is bryophyte and what is the general characteristics of bryophyte? And one more character, that is one more members, that is a pteridophyte. Dear student, please understand, I am talking about the second category, that is a shearpoints, in which P is the silence. So here you have to pronounce pteridophyte. Instead, even though P is present, right? So you have to pronounce pteridophyte. So these both bryophytes and pteridophytes are the suitable example of shearpoints. Sometimes you can expect differentiate heliopoints and the shearpoints. That is a question. Yes, student. Now, did you understand? Did you make a difference between each other? Very good. So next we pass on to another factor, that is a temperature. I am talking about temperature. This is a second factor. Temperature, it is nothing but it is one of the climatic factor that also plays an important role in plant growth and development, right? And not only that, it also controls all the metabolic activities of the cell in a plant, right? So that is called simply temperature. The temperature, it is one of the climatic factor that controls all the activity of the cell of an organism, including plants and animals, right? So that is called the temperature. So temperature are also very important climatic factor, right? So based on the temperature, based on the quantity of temperature or the tolerance, it is broadly divided into three types, right? The intensity of light, the exposure of light, based on the exposure of light, temperature are classified into three types. They are minimum temperature, and the second category is a maximum temperature, and third type is meso or optimum temperature. First of all, let me take minimum temperature. Temperatures are classified into three types. Minimum. That means the plant's physiological activities are very low when the lower temperature in the atmosphere, right? Whereas the physiological actually temperature which activates physiological activity of the cell simply. Now, if you take a physiological activities like respiration, like photosynthesis, excretion, so all growth and development, so cell division, cell elongation, so all these metabolic activities of the cell are determined by temperature, right? So that's why the temperature which plays an important role in determination of photosynthesis and rate of respiration and rate of growth, right? So hence it controls all the activities of the cell. So first of all, let me take in minimum temperature what will happen in plant is simply the physiological activities are very low. the physiological activity of the cell. Physiological activity is very low. That means the rate of respiration and rate of photosynthesis and rate of growth are decreasing, right, in case of minimum temperature. So these physiological activity may increase when optimum temperature is available, right? Optimum. That means the temperature is moderate. In such a condition, the rate of photosynthesis and rate of respiration, rate of growth are also gradually increased. So as I said, here you can say the physiological activity or the rate of growth or rate of respiration is always high, because during optimum temperature, growth increases and respiration also increases and excretion also increases and rate of photosynthesis also increase. Simply, the metabolic activity or the physiological activity of a cell, both plant and animal, may increase in optimum temperature, right? Whereas in maximum temperature, what will happen? I'm talking about if temperature is available at maximum level, what will happen is, so simply the physiological activities, it is going to be totally stopped. And the maximum temperature leads to simply fluctuation, temperature fluctuations in plant, right? So the pigmentation also, it is going to be collapsed. And the rate of respiration is also affected by higher exposure of temperature due to intensity of light in plant. So the maximum temperature always decreases and completely stops the physiological activities of the cell. So this is the difference between minimum temperature and maximum temperature and the optimal temperature. So evaluate which of the following temperature is most suitable for plant growth and development is simply optimal temperature, because that is the right temperature. In that, rate of growth is determined and the rate of respiration is also increased and the rate of photosynthesis is also increased in optimum temperature, right? In minimum temperature, all the activities of the cells are gradually decreased, whereas at maximum temperature, all the physiological activity may be stopped, right? So this is the difference between minimum temperature and the maximum temperature. So finally, the optimum temperature is only required for all the activities of the plant. Okay, dear student, now did you understand what is temperature and how many the types of temperature, right? Yes, student, what will happen in minimum temperature?
Physiological activities are lower.
Physiological activities are very lower in nature. Very good. Then which of the following temperature, rate of growth, rate of photosynthesis and rate of respiration also gradually increased?
Optimum temperature.
Optimum temperature, very good. In which of the following temperature all the activities are totally stopped?
Maximum temperature.
Maximum temperature, very good. So generally temperature how many times? Minimum, maximum and optimum temperature. Very good. Okay, let me move to next topic, right? So based on the tolerance of temperature, plants are classified into following types, right? Based on the thermal tolerance or based on the temperature tolerance, it is also further classified into based on temperature. The regions are classified into following types. I repeat once again. Based on the temperature, regions are classified into following types. They are megathermos, and second type is microthermos. The first category, let me take Megathermos. Thermal means temperature, heat, right? Megathermal. The second type is microthermal. Microtherms or megatherms. And third one, mesotherms. Then fourth one, hekistothermos. Hekistothermal, right? So megathermal means the region where you can see higher temperature, maximum temperature, megathermos, right? Whereas a microthermos means the temperature is very low in nature. And meso means it's moderate. Meso means it's a moderate. And exothermal means extreme condition, right? The temperature is very extreme condition. That is a exothermal, right? So based on the temperature, the regions are classified into megathermos and microthermos, mesothermos, and the exothermos. So based on the temperature tolerance, one of the scientists who involved, Ronke, based on the Ronke is one of the ecologists. I'm talking about the scientist Ronke, who classified based on the temperature into following types, right? They are classified like megathermos, microthermos, meso. So based on the vegetation, I'm talking about based on the vegetation, right? So Ronke's classification. Sometimes you may expect Ronke's, one of the ecologists who classify based on the vegetation or based on the wide range of temperature, as classified into following types, right? The mega and the micro, meso, and the exothermos. So this is very important category to follow in ecological factors, right? Almost he has taken a number of plants based on the range of temperature classified into megathermos. So higher the plants are require higher amount of temperature, and the plants are classified require lower amount of temperature. The plants are require classified under based on vegetation, as concentrated based on the vegetation is classified into following, right? Okay, the Ronke, just imagine, just Ronke classification. When you go for higher studies in biological science, I mean in MSc Botany, you can say you are going to study about Ronke's classification. Ronke is one of the scientists who classified based on the vegetation. Okay, next we pass on to based on the thermal tolerance. As I said, based on the thermal tolerance. Based on the thermal tolerance, it is following types, right? Based on the thermal tolerance, the plants are classified into following types. They are eurythermal and stenothermal. Eurythermal. Eurythermal means the vegetation which requires longer or wide range of temperature, extreme wide range of temperature. Simply, a plant which requires a wide range of temperature. So that is called eurythermal. Whereas stenothermal means a plant which tolerate a small quantity or small range of temperature, right? A small range of stenothermal. Based on the vegetation, based on the thermal tolerance. Based on the tolerance means the thermal tolerance means a plant can tolerate a wide range of temperature. I repeat once again, a plant, if you take a plant, generally now this is a plant, right? It is a plant. Now this plant which can tolerate a wide range of temperature. Even exposure of higher temperature in the atmosphere, the plant can be tolerated. Such a condition, it is called eurythermal. Whereas a stenothermal means the plant can tolerate a small quantity of or small range of temperature. A small range of temperature. Small range of temperature. So that is called simply stenothermal. Stenothermal and eurythermal. Dear student, now did you understand eurythermal and stenothermal? What do you understand about stenothermal or eurythermal? How did you make difference between eurythermal and stenothermal? First of all, did you understand eurythermal?
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by eurythermal?
Yes, sir.
Plant grow in
Yes,
wide
few
range of
words.
temperature.
Wide range of temperature.
Wide range of temperature can be tolerated by some plant, right? They are called eurythermal. Whereas a stenothermal means a plant can tolerate
Plants which grow
small range of
small range of
means small range of temperature.
Very good, very good. Good. Okay, next we pass on to based on the thermal stratification. A temperature can be classified into so many types based on many criteria. Based on vegetation, based on thermal tolerance, based on thermal stratification. So it can be classified into so many types. We have discussed about different types of temperature, different categories, right? One by one we have discussed, right? Okay, next let me move to thermal stratification. Thermal stratification. Actually, thermal stratification, it is an aquatic habitat. It is found in water body like a pond, a stream, lake, pool, sea, ocean. So thermal stratification, right? So based on the thermal stratification, so simply it is found in aquatic habitat, then it is further classified into following types, right? The thermal stratification. The first one is epilimnion and hypolimnion, and third category is metalimnion. The first type is, let me take epilimnion. Epi means above. Now there is a thermal stratification which is found at the surface of the water. If you take any water body like a pond, so pond is very familiar. Pond is known to everyone. So the surface of water in a pond, right? That is very, very warmer water. You can see the warmer water, right? In summer. So that is called epilimnion. Epilimnion. That means the upper surface of the water is so hot, right? It is the warmer water which are present in the upper surface of a pond or water body. Even if it is a sea, an ocean, a lake also, right? If you go to lake or pond just to see, just to touch the surface of the water, you feel epilimnion. That means the upper surface is so water or warmer in nature. That is epilimnion. Whereas the second category is a metalineal or middle portion, a middle part of the pond or middle part or meta. I'm talking about the second layer of a pond, that is a metalineal. I'm talking about the middle part, right? Middle part of the pond, in between upper surface and the bottom of the water in a pond, right? That is a metalineal. Whereas the bottom of the water, that is called simply hypolineal. Hypo, bottom or below. Hypo means below. Bottom of the water body in pond, right? That is a hypolineal. Now just I'm going to show you, I'm going to just create a pond that you can understand very clearly. Dear student, you can understand, right? Now this is a water body, right? It is a pond, water body, right? Just imagine this is a pond where you see the water. If you take a pond, because pond is there in every village, in every area, all the villages you can see a small pond in which small fishes and insects, some microorganisms are also grown in, right? Okay. Have you seen any other pond? Yes, students. Did you see pond in your locality?
Yes,
in your region?
Yes, sir.
Right. In that, the surface of the water, this surface of the water, right? The first one that indicates surface of the water. Now, this is a first one, water, epilineal. The surface of the water body in pond is very warmer in nature, right? Because the thermal stratification, naturally the surface is so hot, right? The metalineal is the middle part. I'm talking about this or this black color, this portion, right? Just in order to understand, just I'm drawing, I'm pointing out the metalineal. This is the second portion, right? This is a metalineal. Whereas the hypolineal is the lower part or the bottom of the, it is indicated by yellow in color, right? Hypolineal. So if you take any water body like a pond or stream or lake, right? So in both lake and the pond, you can see this kind of categories like epilineal, metalineal, hypolineal. So when we touch, the epilineal is so hot and the metalineal is little bit. The temperature is gradually decreased as compared with the epilineal with the metalineal. I mean, the middle part of the pond is in temperaturely decreased. Whereas the hypolineal, it's so cool, right? So when we go for deeply, the bottom of the pond, you feel the water is very, very cool in nature, right? So the temperature of the bottom of a pond is totally decreased. So temperature is totally decreased. Hence, it maintains cool temperature, right? In the bottom of the pond. I'm talking about a thermal stratification, right? So sometimes it is very important area, important questions to be concentrated. So please understand, sometimes the question may be asked. What is a thermal stratification, right? Or write a note on thermal stratification, right? Dear students, did you understand about thermal stratification? Could you point out to the hypolineal where it is present in a pond? If you take a pond, is a water body in which, could you point out, could you tell me hypolineal, where is it?
Bottom
of
layer
the
of the
water
pond.
body.
Very good. Then in between bottom and the surface of the water body, you see there is a black in color. which is represented by black and color. Could you mention their name?
Metalimnian.
Metalimnian. Then what do you understand between metalimnian and a hypolimnian? Talking about based on the temperature, what do you feel about metalimnian?
Metalimnian, gradual decrease in temperature. Hypolimnian, cold.
Gradually decreased. When we go for hypolimnian, what will be the nature of temperature totally?
It is very cold.
Very cold, very good, right? When we go for even pond or a lake is there in every village, right? We can see. So this is a nature of thermal stratification, right? Yes, student, please understand, right? Well, next we pass on to based on the temperature. It is some following tests. One more criteria. Latitude and attitude. For that, just I'm going to show you latitude and attitudes. Okay, dear students, so just I'm going to show you latitude and attitude based on vegetation, the zone of vegetation. Temperatures are classified into following types. Dear student, as I said, based on the zone of vegetation, it is based on the zone of vegetation, temperature is classified into following types, right? The first category is a latitudinal zonation. So what is the nature of vegetation in latitudinal direction and the altitude, latitude and attitude? Just when you go for latitudinal zonation, you can see this kind of forest, right? So the first forest, I think, actually latitudinal zone is nothing but it is an angle by 0 to 90 degree, right? It is an angle which is found in between 0 to 90 degree, right? Such a condition is said to be as a latitudinal zonation. If you take a earth, right? Now this is a earth in which we find, right? Just let me represent. It is a largest biosphere. Earth is the largest biosphere in which let us represent 0 to simply 0 to 90%, 0 to 90 degree, 0 to 90 degree, right? by an angle of 0 to 90 degree, what are the vegetations are determined by the exposure of temperature? So simply, I think when we take 0 to 90 degree by an angle, right, in between, we can find a tropical rainforest, and the second category is a grassland or a desert forest, right? You can see grassland or desert vegetation you can see in the second zone, right? And third zone, you can find the vegetation of deciduous forest. Deciduous forest is found almost, it is determined by 45-degree angle, right? So these deciduous forests are grown by the angle of 45 degree, right? And the coniferous forest, almost it is determined or originated by an angle of 60 degree. That is important, right? And tundra is this is also kind of vegetation. It is also found almost 80 degree by an angle of 80 degree, and just above 80 degree, almost in 90 degree, you see only ice bar or snowfall. In that, there is no formation of vegetation. So, because the temperature which determines the following vegetation, right, latitudinally in the atmosphere, right? So the first one is it is initiated. The tropical rainforest can be determined by only 0 to 10 degree angle, and whereas the grassland and desert can be grown by an angle of 20, and deciduous forest can be grown by the exposure of temperature, and the deciduous forest can be grown by an angle of 45, and a coniferous forest, that means very huge trees are grown by an angle of almost 60 or 70, and tundras maybe 80, and ice and snowfall, right? You can say by an angle of 90 degree. So that is a latitudinal zonation of vegetation, right? Because this vegetation can be determined by exposure of whether wide range of temperature or small range of temperature, right? Okay. Next we move to altitudinal zonation. Actually, it is nothing but it is a place where you can see very high place. So right from a sea level, right from sea level. Dear student, please understand. So the height of the tree, height of the plantation, the height of vegetation is determined by this altitudinal direction, right? So right from the sea level, you can see the up to 0 to up to 1,100 meter, right? You can see tropical rainforest, and just above you can find a grassland or desert, and 3,000 feet you can see deciduous forest, and the 6,005 feet you can see coniferous and tundra. So this is simply a graphical representation how this vegetation is determined by a wide range of temperature or a small range of temperature, right? That determines the rate of growth and all the activities of the soil, right? Okay, next we pass on to what are the effects of this temperature. Actually, that is very important one. First of all, the temperature that affects the enzymatic action of all the cells of an organism, right? Yes, student, this is the last topic that I'm going to discuss with you. That is the effects of temperature. Sometimes the question it is going to be asked in the exam, right, about the effects of temperature, right? Everybody is asked, right? I'm talking about effects of temperature. Effects of temperature. So first point, it also affects all the enzymatic action. It affects all the enzymatic action in a cell of a plant, right? So simply all the enzymatic action is determined by exposure of temperature. Second point, That is very interesting area, dear students. It also balances work on the CO2 circulation. It also balances CO2 and O2 solubility in the living system. That is the second point. It all that means a temperature which influences CO2 on the O2 solubility in the living system, right? Hence, that stimulates the growth of seedlings in plant, right? So that is a second point. And third point is, I think, the low temperature with the high humidity causes a disease in plants. The temperature is very low, and if humidity is very high, what will happen is that will spread out disease. That spread of disease in plants. So simply low temperature with a high humidity. Even low temperature with a high humidity can cause disease not only in plant, for human being also. This is a climatic change, one of the changes that also causes a disease in human being. So the next fourth point is, I think very few points are given to you, no problem. It is very, very important here, right? Then one more point. The temperature is also affects the distribution of vegetation, right? It also affects the distribution. Distribution of vegetation from one place to another place. So this is the nature of temperature, right? I repeat it again. It affects enzymatic action in all the living system, including plants and prokaryotic to eukaryotic. Second one, it also influences CO2 and the O2 solubility in the living system. Third one, it causes a disease due to low temperature with the high humidity in the atmosphere, and the varying temperature in the atmosphere that leads for a distribution of vegetation from one place to another place, right? So this is simply something about the effects of temperature. Thank you for joining, my students. Tomorrow we will continue another factor, that is water, wind, and fire. These are all the one of the climatic factors. We will continue in next class, right? Thank you for joining. Before that, just I'd like to give home assignment, take done in few minutes, right?